The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cynder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Luke Swetland, and Luke is the president and CEO of the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History and the Sea Center. Welcome, Luke.
Cynder, I am delighted to be back with you after so many years. Thanks for having me.
Yes. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I want to hear all about what's going on at the museum and the Sea Center.
Great. Well, I'm happy to share everything that's happening. I think the most important thing we need everyone to know is the museum is fully back up and running, both indoors and out. We have just a full lineup of our galleries. We have new exhibits. We've brought back the animatronic dinosaurs back across the creek, and they'll be living with us permanently now.
Oh, gosh.
Well, they were so popular, people said, bring them back, and we found a way to make that happen at the beginning of this year.
I have a feeling you find a way to make a lot of wonderful things happen there.
Well, it's all about listening to what the community wants and then doing our best to kind of provide those opportunities for people to learn about science, learn about nature, engage with it, and really spark curiosity and wonder and ignite a lifetime of wanting to know more, because we believe when people kind of care about something, they want to protect it.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it, and that's so true.
Yeah.
And your space is so inspirational, so much outside space. It's quite wonderful.
Well, we just closed our very popular Butterflies Alive exhibition, and that just runs for the summer. And now that it's cooling off, the butterflies wouldn't like it anyway, because they need the solar power to really be at their best. But in a few weeks, we'll reopen the pavilion as just a wonderful, beautiful, contemplative garden. So next time you're at the museum, if you walked through the halls and you'd like to sit down outside for a while, just wander into the pavilion, and it's just a beautiful space to just kind of sit and contemplate.
You know, I brought some of my great-grandkids there not too long ago, and they loved the butterflies. They also loved just crawling on all those big giant rocks you have out there. And I don't know, maybe I don't know if there's a little mud hole or what, but they just had a great time.
Hey, that is paradise for little kids.
Yes.
Our backyard, and we really see that as kind of the gateway to nature. For the really little ones that maybe are a little bit afraid to go down to Mission Creek itself, so we have our recirculating creek, we have the boulders, we have the trees, and all the rules in our backyard are not for the kiddos, they're for the adults. And so we say to parents and grandparents, now don't say no, don't climb that tree. Don't say to your kid or your grandkid, don't climb on that rock. We want young people to really experience the natural world in a really visceral and tactile 3D way, because that's how kids learn.
Yes, yes. And I love it that you say when they learn, when they see it, when they experience it, then they want to protect it, take care of it.
That's right. That's really what we are all about. I mean, as you know, we're an encyclopedic natural history museum. So we do everything from anthropology to zoology, astronomy, everything. And so, you know, each of our galleries really are a window into a part of the natural world. But the great thing about our galleries is they're really not the destination. I think of the museum indoors as base camp for exploration outdoors. And as you know, as you mentioned, we have that wonderful outdoor setting, Mission Creek, the riparian habitat, At the Sea Center, we have the whole beach and the channel. So we really want people to learn things inside and then take that outside into our backyard. And we hope that when you go home, you'll look at your own backyard a little more closely.
All right.
Because nature is all around us. It's not something you have to drive to. You only have to go outside, and you are part of the natural world.
So talk to us a little bit about the Sea Center. What do visitors experience when they go there?
Well, I like to think of the Sea Center as this little jewel that floats magically over the Santa Barbara Channel there on Stearns Wharf. And what visitors of all ages can do is, you know, for most of us, if we don't go scuba diving or snorkeling, we don't know what's out there in that dark, cold, wet, scary place called the ocean. So we invite some ambassadors that live in the channel to come and live at the Sea Center so that we all can see them up close, learn about them, and to touch them gently. Because, you know, for every young person that says, I'm scared of sharks, well, here, why don't you touch a swell shark that lives right out in our channel? And I guarantee when you touch something and feel it, you become a little less afraid of it. So we're trying to break down that disconnect between people and nature. Now, for the next few months, the Sea Center is closed. We're making some necessary repairs. Because as you know, that marine environment just is really tough on facilities, on boats if you're a sailor. But we're bringing a bunch of our critters from the Sea Center in touch tanks up to the museum this fall. So you'll still have that Sea Center experience right there at the museum.
That is so great. And so you're just like this little kid who loves all these different experiences and you want to share them with other people, and that comes through loud and clear.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty exciting to get turned on by the natural world and to share that excitement with anybody that will give me a listen. And all of my colleagues, the staff, the volunteers, the docents, we all share that passion for sharing the natural world.
I'll bet. I can just imagine you inspire them as well.
Thank you.
Gosh, okay, so let's talk a little bit about collaborations and volunteers. Tell us, I bet you collaborate with a lot of different organizations.
Let me back up and say, you know, we're 105 years old this year.
105.
So we have lasted as long and are as strong as we are because we are really a part of the DNA of Santa Barbara. We're part of this community, and the community has made the museum and the Sea Center. So we've developed many, many partnerships over the decades. We work closely with Santa Barbara Audubon Society. And in fact, they keep their Eyes in the Sky program. Those are the birds of prey that live right there on the museum grounds. And volunteers bring those birds out so you can be this far away from a great horned owl.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that. Something you would maybe catch a glimpse of in the gloom at dusk. You can get up close and learn about that wonderful bird and kind of everything it does in its ecosystem. We have a great partnership with the local astronomy club, and they do their monthly star parties. We hope they're going to start doing those again next winter. The Archaeological Society does its monthly lectures at the museum. More recently, we've developed a new set of strategic partnerships with the Community Environmental Council, Santa Barbara Channel Keeper, the Bren School at UCSB.
That's perfect.
Because what we have learned is the museum is a safe and trusted place.
Yes.
I like to describe it as it's kind of like going to your grandparents' house. It's familiar, it's comfortable, there's always something cool to see, there's great stories there, and we want to use that safety and that feeling of trust to invite people to come and think about some challenging things, particularly through these new strategic partnerships. we convened a series of town halls around particular environmental issues that we see manifesting right here in our region. So whether it was, what was the long-term impact of the Montecito debris flow on the Carpinteria salt marsh, on the beaches. And so we use our kind of our safe place to have tough conversations in a way that invite people to consider different points of view. And so we're able to convene a lot of experts together to kind of have those conversations. And I think that's been really powerful and really well received.
That is great. So what other kinds of conversations have you had, or what other topics?
Well, the first town hall we did was shortly after the Montecito debris flow, just to bring in different scientists to say, what happened? You know, and this whole idea of the series of microbursts of rain and each of the watersheds, that debris coming loose, and that this is a cycle that's been going on for tens of thousands of years, trying to put one tragic event within a larger historical and geological context. And then again, we talked about 2 years later, how quickly had different ecosystems rebounded from that damage. We did a great program where we invited several weather forecasters. And it's interesting, while a lot of folks find it really difficult to talk about climate change impacts, weather people have great success in talking about climate change by talking about the weather that we are all experiencing it. Because they too are trusted voices on that television, on that radio. So they can gently put what we're seeing in terms of erratic weather patterns, much more intense weather events within a larger context. So that was a really powerful conversation that we had.
So it sounds like whether it's through the facility or whether it's through these conversations or even the Sea Center, you're able to bring in scientific experts and make that fun and interesting for people that might not otherwise find out about it or be in a place where they could hear.
Well, that's exactly what our role and our responsibility is, to be a convener of science and meaning making based on that science. I mean, we have a whole division, our collections and research division, as you know. We're curating a collection of over 3.5 million artifacts that document 150 years of biodiversity in our region. And our scientists are engaged in internationally significant research. We're describing new species every year. So we have a whole bench strength of scientific talent, but we also work with scientists from across the region and actually around the world to kind of continue expanding kind of the boundaries of our knowledge of the natural world. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and I love that term, meaning making. Helping people make meaning of what's going on right in front of them, but really to step back and gain a perspective that they otherwise wouldn't be able to see.
Well, science is great, but you then find, you get very quickly to the point, well, so what? So what do I do with this? What is the meaning that I make of this? How does this impact my life? What impact can I have to improve things for our region? Because we live in a very beautiful but very fragile piece of the planet. You know, we're a biodiversity hotspot, so we have dozens of different ecosystems, each teeming with unique creatures that can live only in that ecosystem. And every one of those is under pressure from human activity. So we need to figure out constantly how to live in balance with all those other critters that we share this space with, because they call it home too. And we can do it. I mean, we have such a great track record in this community of environmental awareness, of putting land into conservation easements, into the trust. So we have a lot to be proud of, and a lot of good work's been done, and there's more good work that we can continue to do. And our job is to inspire everybody to want to do that.
And the museum is such an impressive steward of all of that.
Oh, thank you.
And so you're a gift to the whole community. So let's talk about volunteers. You accept volunteers, you invite them to be part?
Come on down.
Oh, right.
We rely so heavily on dedicated volunteers. They work shoulder to shoulder with paid staff. Volunteers are just unpaid staff, working shoulder to shoulder with paid staff, doing all of the same things. And what that enables us to do is stretch our dollars even further. There's a lot of things we couldn't pull off programmatically if we didn't have the help of a lot of generous volunteers who give their time to the museum and the Sea Center.
So what if somebody says, well, that sounds really interesting. I mean, I think I'd really like to be a volunteer, but I probably don't know enough. Do you have training programs and things like that?
We have volunteer opportunities both back of house and front of house. So a lot of volunteers, I don't want to be a docent and do school group visit tours. That's fine. We can use more help in collections. So that's pretty cool, getting to work with the scientist and handling the collections. We have volunteers that help us out in some of our big events. So we can use help in every area. And so what I would encourage people, if they're interested, go to our website, sbnature.org. You can call the museum's main line and ask to talk to our volunteer manager at the museum or at the Sea Center, and we will find a place where you can do something that will be meaningful, and worthwhile, and we will be so appreciative of your help.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I might come sign up.
All right.
So speaking of your website, so you are a 501c3. You accept financial donations that are tax deductible to the donor. And so a person can go on the website, and I bet you have a donate button there.
And you would be right that we do. Now we, about a third of our annual operating support comes from philanthropy, from gifts, many small gifts from folks just like you who say, I want to just help out the museum a little bit this year. And every dollar really matters for the museum and for all of my sister nonprofits here in Santa Barbara. I mean, it's an incredibly generous community, and there's a lot of us that need a lot of generous support to do the work that we do. But yes, we rely on kind of the wonderful generosity of thousands of people in this community, in this region, to do what we do every year.
That is. So you have some events, maybe a couple events each year, fundraising events?
Well, we love nothing better than a good party, believe me. So we had to put a lot of things on hiatus, of course, for a couple years, but we're getting going again. So in fact, each fall we do an art show, an art exhibition and sale, and we'll be doing that again the first week in October this fall. So please check our website. You'll want to come and see some fabulous plein air art done by 15 of the premier local plein air artists that are working in Santa Barbara, and their work will be hanging in our auditorium. Next summer, we'll bring back our Wine and Food Festival, which is the premier wine and food festival in Santa Barbara, really one of the first. Our Wine and Food Festival grew up literally with Santa Barbara wine country. And so we've put it on hold for the last 2 years, but we'll be doing it again at the end of June next year. So buy your tickets now because it will sell out as it always does.
All righty then, that's a good word.
Yeah, and we have lots of events coming up, but everything, we're being really cautious, really smart. Safety for the staff, for the catering staff, for our visitors is the uppermost thing we have to be aware of.
Great. Yeah. Well, Luke, oh my gosh, thank you for all your important work that you do.
Wait, we're not done yet, are we?
And unfortunately, but you could come back again.
Yeah, there's always so much to talk about, and it's just a delight to be able to share it with you, Cynder. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing your wonderfulness with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.